On his way, sir.
Sounds amazing. Wow.
I'll bring us in. Okay. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to NECC for some more Rocket League action. I am still Lars Newt. I'm going to be your commentator. Joining me here now in the booth is the man, Leachy. Leachy, how you doing tonight?
Good, Mr. Stats. I heard you're working on getting yourself a bit of a reputation, and I kind of want to hold your feet to the flames a little bit here. I want to test these back end systems as much as possible throughout this next coming match, which, by the way, if rumors are to be believed, should be a bit of a banger.
Oh, of course it is. It's going to be some Champions West action, which, as always, is going to be crazy fun, super cool to watch. And it's Fresno State versus Alabama Crimson. Alabama Crimson, who was undefeated until last week match. I actually cast against Lincoln Land. They dropped 1-3. Fresno State, on the other hand, currently 1-3 so far in their season, looking to pick up some momentum against Alabama Crimson. And despite the disparity in these records, it's really anybody's game to win. These teams, they're so close. The records aren't a good reflector of how tight this Champions West division is.
That's fair too, and we're still in the relative early stages of the season, so you can start kind of gleaning a little bit of information on who is probably going to be a top half finisher and who is probably going to be a bottom half finisher. That's probably as far as I would go in terms of making a prediction tonight. Alabama Crimson 3-1, Fresno State Blue 1-3. on paper, and I'm going to lean on that cliche again, but on paper, Alabama Crimson probably has it. But thank goodness gracious, this game isn't played on paper, because Rocket League is a game of instants. And every single instant, something brand new can happen that you could not have possibly expected, such as an errant pinch, such as some kind of a bump into a demo, into a quadruple flip reset, what have you. And the game, the story of the game can turn on a dime. So yes, the numbers help to set general expectations, but I wouldn't look into them any further than that.
Well, and as you know, you've played Rocket League enough. You know, you've got good days and you've got bad days. And that's not just true for individuals. That's true for teams as well. You've got good days and bad days. And you can have a top tier team, a team that's been undefeated so far, that's absolutely on fire. And you're not on that team, but you catch them on a bad day for them and a good day for you. And all of a sudden, it's an entirely different story. But like you heard me say in the last match, only way to find out who's the actual better team right now here today for this series is to play that series.
Let's play that series, shall we? Ladies and gentlemen, we have got FSU Maroon in blue. Fish, Hyanea, and Manny. Hyanea, a person I've had the pleasure of casting a couple times. Tricky name to say, but I have nailed it, I swear. Going up against Alabama Crimson, choosing to field Buck Wonders and Soup Time in the action underway. Fish, shot on target, relatively simple save from Soup Time, taking this over the top of Manny. Hyanea passes this into the corner relatively well. Unfortunate that I think it was Fish that wasn't quite able to make any kind of a receiving touch. Wow, dangerous there from Soup Time, but able to skirt just underneath the oncoming FSU player. This one shot on target yet again, relatively slowly taken away for the second time by Buck. 60 seconds gone, Lars. Nothing to show for it in terms of offensive contribution. Still 0-0.
Nothing to show for it in goals, but that first 60 seconds was pretty heavily dominated by Fresno, and a little bit of a turnaround. That one's off the corner. Hyanea with a save. That's a good look. We're getting quick transition plays out of Bama, but we're not getting lots of great looks at the net, just a couple of one-offs I'd like to see. We've harped on it for so long already tonight, that quick, fast offensive rotation, established attacks, and then rebound shot attacks. You can't let that rebound just be a one-off opportunity.
Fresno State blue looking to build out of their own half. Manny gets demoed, but Hyanea with the shot there and the demo from Fish, but it didn't open up the, well, I mean, technically it did open up the shooting lane. It's just the shot was slightly off target, so not going to score if you don't put it on target. Hyanea looking to see this one in. No, thwarted by that right side post. So close, 2 minutes gone, and we were so close to seeing the opening goal, but as of right now, we're still at a stalemate.
Both these teams very evenly matched. We're seeing this ball back and forth fairly quickly. We haven't seen, like we said, a lot of that established offensive rotation, but in that transition play, they're doing a great job of getting back on defense and getting good defensive positioning. And usually that's a good way to catch a team out, is if they don't do a great job of rotating back as that momentum shifts back downfield, you can look for opportunities. We've seen one opportunity go by the wayside as those Hyanea couldn't quite get the cut back to the net. But for the most part, both these teams great at getting back defensive and not allowing these quick transitions to be effective.
Hyanea popping this one up high, turned into a pass for Buck, who in turn knocks it down to Wonders, but couldn't see that one on target. Ooh, not the prettiest of pinches there, allowing Soup Time to take advantage. This one is up. Soup Time will miss this one. Running through that back goal area. Oh, Buck, interesting, playing the nuisance there. Just getting in the way. Hyanea, oh no, jumping way too late there, and now Fish has to deal with the lost 50. Manny has to clean up for it. Still has a touch off this right side wall. Wonders waits for this one to come down, catches it, and takes it past Fish, but does get demoed. Oh, open, no, Manny chooses to turn away from this one. Lars, I'm interested to know why the decision wasn't just to spear that one towards goal. Maybe figured that he would have been beaten to it and thought better.
I think a little bit of the spacing was awkward. It wasn't super definitive if they could get to that ball first, and the angle they were coming at it from wasn't very advantageous. And also, oh yeah, there were 3 Bama defenders back between them and the net. They could have dove in, but they weren't sure how well their team was covering if that didn't go to their advantage. and elect to rotate back out, and they do end up getting a good control play out of it. So I think net positive, but you may have to get a little bit more aggressive, a little more risky, given that we're still 0-0. Not for long. Wonders off the back wall.
Crucial miss here, unfortunately, for Hyanea. The ball was a little bit too far out in front of them, and Wonders will see that in because there was no one to make sure that he couldn't see it in. 1-0 to Alabama Crimson. Just 62 seconds before the end of game one. This is, I gotta say, it's a much closer contest than I was expecting. Like I said, I didn't want to lean on the numbers too heavily, but I expected at least a couple goals, by the halfway mark. I'm excited to see that it's close. I wish it was close with like 8 goals scored, not just one. Maybe I'm being selfish. Who knows?
To me, I like good, solid play. When I played football, I was a defensive end, so I'm kind of a defensive-minded player. And low scoring, tight contests, they get their own kind of excitement. I guess that's the reason, soccer is so very popular. And we're seeing an example of it here on the field. Fish looking for an opportunity, puts it wide, and that's almost a beautiful pass, but Hyanea can't find the touch, and they need it. They may want that one back as less than 10 seconds to go. They have barely any time to try to get this one back and at least force overtime.
Having this one drop down, it's off of the side. Alabama just needs this to hit the ground, and that is exactly what will happen. Lars, a single goal game here between FSU Blue and Alabama Crimson. We may be in, okay, interesting. We may be in for a long night in that it may go to game 5, but we may also be in for a short night in that we're only going to see 1 or 2 goals per game out of all 5 of those things. So that averages out to what? About
a regular night.
Yes, exactly. Average NECC evening, right?
I like the way you have effectively built up average. Thank you, Leachy.
That's what I do best. That's why they brought me in, Lars.
You are the pro at selling average. But speaking of average, very, very even on these teams, doing a good job of evenly dispersing demos, evenly dispersing time on attack. It's just an even matchup. Both teams very not shy to go up in the air, but good control on the ground. They get good offensive rotations. We got a good, decent amount of time on attack. FSU's longest attack lasting about 17 and a half seconds. Bama on the other side, 33 seconds. But it's still fairly even. That's a good long time to be attacking the net. I'm not sure, honestly, and I hate to say this, what's going to be the advantage from these teams? I do want to point out real quick, now that I think about it, because I'm scramble-brained over here, is you mentioned it could be if this is the norm, but I know we've casted series together ourselves where game 1 and game 2 and game 3 and game 4 and game 5 are from completely different series and all look wildly different.
Very much, yeah. I've just tonight, actually, on a different network, I had an experience where game 1 was like an 8-4 blowout, and then the rest of the games throughout that same series were 1-goal games. So it's never something that you can rely on. Like the first game's performance, I won't say never, but rarely something that you can rely on is a team being that much consistent, that much better, like consistently compared to their opponents. And it's not even that Alabama Crimson were that much better than FSU Blue, because it was a single goal that decided it. Very, very evenly split in terms of the statistics. It's just there was a 1 in the goal column for Bama Crimson and there was a 0 for FSU Blue. So I have no reason to believe why this game won't swing right back the other direction.
The other side, when you get these tight matchups, is you get, a bunch of 1-0 victories, but they all go to the same team. You're like, oh, look, there's a sweep. Speaking of sweeps, Wonders sweeping up that ball off the backboard, is able to push that one home. And that's the first of the night for Bama. Second of the night.
Second of the night, indeed. What a dunk there, I must say, because that goal does not happen if that dunk on that right side wall doesn't take place. Oh, right off the bat, Manny's so close to equalizing this one. Hyanea, down tricky off of the ceiling. Manny was looking for some kind of a doink, but couldn't get to the ball in time. 1-0 to Alabama Crimson. definitely stepping on the gas a little bit earlier compared to game number 1. Oh no, double commit there for FSU Blue, having to take their time rotating back, or will spend a lot of time rotating back. They don't have to. They would probably prefer not to take their time. Buck winning a great 50 underneath Manny, who will then turn on this one, get it past Soup Time. It is in the corner, but Wonders looks to bang this one clear. Alabama Crimson still 1 goal up.
Something I like about what's happening here is you don't very often see the ball picked up unchallenged. It's almost all the time, a good portion of the time at least, anytime a player is making a touch, it's contested. They're trying to make a 50. They're trying to beat over the top of somebody. Both these teams doing a great job of getting up in the face of their opponent and not just allowing free control of the ball.
I gotta say something interesting, Mr. Stats, that I'm looking at now that you've allowed me to peer into the cave of wonders of your your creation here. 59 seconds was the longest attack from FSU. On the other side of things, Alabama Crimson, not even 9 seconds. The pressure from FSU Blue has been otherworldly compared to game number 1. And yet Alabama are still the team with the 1 goal lead. So, I mean, I don't know what else to say other than they need to keep the pressure on even further and work hard to generate more shooting opportunities, because clearly the pressure is there. It's just the finishing product isn't.
Well, we talk about this a lot. When you see a team get pinned back in their own end, you can see, oh, they got tons and tons of saves. Right now, Alabama picking up 3 saves so far on, 7 shots out of FSU. You see tons and tons of saves, and great, that's cool. They can make a really good defensive stand, but if you allow a team to sit in and attack for that long, eventually it's going to fall apart. It doesn't matter who's defending. If you take enough shots, sooner or later it's going in. If you are Alabama, you need to find a way to flip the script, bring that ball back down the other way, get some established offense, and not play off the back foot this often.
The unfortunate thing is, you say sooner or later it's going to go in. You'd imagine that 59 seconds is sooner or later plus an eternity, and they still can't make it happen here. Haiania stabbing this one directly on target, but Alabama Crimson just standing up tall in the way, and now we're down to the final 60 seconds or so. This one's bad. Fish, no, we can't pop it out of the way. That's a 2nd goal for Alabama Crimson. And now with the way this whole game is gone, I know there's still 66 seconds left, but I don't know that FSU Blue has enough in them to bring this back.
That's very well read here by Wonders to get that touch off of Fish. Recognizing Fish has very limited options. Fish could have let that one sit or try to pop it over like they did. And Wonders put themselves in a position where it kind of didn't matter either way. They were going to find a touch and try to force that one home, and a great reaction to send it in. And I'm inclined to agree with how this series has gone, not just game 2, but game 1 as well, being low scoring and just a slugfest. Trying to get 2 goals back here, it doesn't seem like a lot, but with how these teams are playing, that is an absolute mountain to climb.
Alabama have had 4 shots, make it 5 for the 3rd goal here. FSU Blue have had 9, and absolutely none of them have found their way on target. Alabama Crimson are showing a masterclass right now of how to deal with a stifling amount of pressure and make the most of a counterattack.
I don't think that's a sustainable strategy, but it's going to work here so far, as Wonder is looking for another one. It's going to work so far in game number 2. The thing, we talk a lot about the mental game, is being defensive like that. It's mentally exhausting. It doesn't just drain your boost tanks. It drains your mental tanks. But speaking of transition plays, that's kind of ironic. They spent all that time downfield attacking, and then they hit a quick transition here. Manny, I just blanked on the name. You're going to have to take it over for me.
Haiania.
Manny to Haiania. And we also talked about that a lot here tonight, is attacking through the center of the field. Get in the shooting lane and then punish it.
Buck. Yeah. A little bit wide for that double tap, but gave it the old college try. Get it? College? All right, ball hits the ground, Alabama. Take a game number 2 in the, I'll say, a slightly more commanding fashion. It wasn't, they didn't run FSU Blue ragged, but 3-1 is a lot different than a 1-0 scoreline, barely 60 seconds from the end of the game.
No, that's a good showing out of both these teams. FSU, lots to be excited about there. I'm going to throw it up real quick. We've got our heat map. FSU spending so much time. Look, if we're dividing this in half, look what all that heat is. It's all down in this orange end, as Alabama really struggled to get that ball clear. But when they did so effectively. And I think this is part of the reason here why. Look at all these demos. Alabama finds a demo here. That one specifically was off a shot to clear out the net. They're getting these demos in transition. They're disrupting that ability for, disrupting that ability for FSU to effectively defend their net on those transition plays. And they're really showing, if you can make an effective attack, you don't need a ton of them. You just need high quality ones. But like I said, I don't think that's a sustainable strategy. Sooner or later, FSU is going to break down your defense, and you need to be able to switch it up and find something new to get an advantage.
That sooner or later had better come right here, right now. This is game 3. As the old cliche goes, FSU, or losing team X, they've got their backs up against the wall. They need to play perfect from here on out. They're 2 games down in the series. It is a best of 5, meaning first team to 3 takes it. And I don't know. I believe here, I'll put it to you this way. I believed a lot more in game 1 FSU to take this. Game 2, even with that almost full minute of sustained pressure that we saw and only getting a single goal throughout the entire game, I have to admit I don't have the same amount of confidence in FSU.
I think the important takeaway here is that last goal was the last goal of the match. Excuse me. Their one goal is the last goal of the match. That gives them a little bit of momentum going into game number 3. But off the bat here, Alabama doing a great job of giving FSU a bit of a taste of their own medicine. Can they capitalize on it, or is it going to be FSU that finds the transition back the other way?
Hainia down, hands it over to Fish, but Buck so fast to block that one. Soup time, keeping the momentum going. Buck trying to redirect it on target. Does get a fancy little block, but speed of that ball died way too quickly. Whoa, someone gets cleared to the moon as Soup time comes in, knocking it off the backboard. No one's in goal right now. Buck puts a probing shot on target, straight down to the face of Wonders.
Wow.
Great save from Fish. It's not over yet, though. Soup time up high. Manny can't get the touch. This ball is still so dangerous for FSU Blue. It's not over just yet. It finally ends in a goal. FSU, take notes. This is how you turn an extended bit of pressure into an end product. 1-0 to Alabama Crimson.
Wow, Alabama has over a minute on the attack here in less than 90 seconds into this game. What a showing out of Alabama. And exactly like you said, that's how you need to open up the net. You could see when that ball finally went in, it was a soft touch back towards the net with no defenders home to try to clear it away. When you spend that much time, if you're effectively attacking the net, you're drawing those defenders away, you're pulling them out of the net, you're forcing them to respond out in the field to take away shooting opportunities. And eventually, if you can contain... Wow, if you can contain, you will get those opportunities. But man, we've seen a couple of nutty saves on the side of Fish, falling save to take one away. And then right there, I don't even see who it was, but that scramble in front of the net to keep that one clear.
What's killing me, Lars, please see this one in. No, what a save from Buck. Hainia, I mean, to be fair, was a bit of a tricky shot to get any power on. Did well just to put it on target, frankly. It's killing me that FSU Blue are having the, stellar defensive play after stellar defensive play, but they're just not able to convert. And now that one comes dangerously close to being 2-0 for Bama Crimson. Fish keeping it high, allowing Soup time just a teed up shot. That one is near suicide. Buck will confirm this one. 2 goals now to Alabama Crimson. They are starting to run away with this one again.
If we're talking about confidence in a team's ability to execute, game number 1, absolutely anybody's game. You could absolutely hand that to, it's a flip of the coin. At the end of that game, it was a flip of the coin to decide who won game number 1. Game number 2, a little bit more commanding towards Alabama, but FSU had all that control down in the offensive end. game number 3, I know you can see it. I know you know what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the scoreboard, and I'm looking at how much time we're spending pressuring the net. And they both lean to Alabama. Game number 3 needs to change rapidly here if FSU wants to stay alive in this series.
Oh, dangerous run there. You said, I know what you're looking at. And I was like, I don't know what I'm looking at. What am I supposed to be looking at right now? Scoreboard, something fancy? Who knows? Fish trying to clear this one out. Soup time playing that nuisance role so well. Wonders can't find this one on target, but Soup time with the follow-up. Manny stabbing this one wide. Hainia over to Manny. Oh, lordy. Interesting pass there. Kind of shoving his teammate down, saying, hey, you have possession. Hainia getting dunked by Buck. This one is up. Wonders can't find the touch. Soup time. That low portion of the wall. We're past that magical 90-second remaining mark, Lars, and the 2-goal lead is still with Alabama Crimson. In game 3, it's going to be a 3-goal lead. This one may just be over.
Past the 90-second mark, it's not just a 2-goal lead. It's 15 shots on net. It's 76% of the time spent in the blue half of the field. It's just a dominance. 75% of the demos so far were Alabama on FSU. Everything about this match points Alabama. And unfortunately for FSU, this is match point in Alabama's favor. If they don't change something, I want to say the next 15 seconds, if we don't see life, then we could go ahead and call Alabama victors here.
Soup time. Ooh, giving a brief opportunity to FSU Blue to put something on target, but no, that one is just rolling on target. It's gonna be 4, Lars. I think we are done and dusted. We have seen, honestly, the best way I can sum this up, Alabama Crimson took FSU's performance in game 2, applied it to their own game style, and is just tutoring them top to bottom on how to make it work. Listen, FSU, you tried all this pressure and it didn't work. Let me show you how it's done. 4-0 scoreline. Quite honestly, a well-deserved lead for Alabama Crimson.
This is why Alabama is one of, arguably, if not the top team in Champions West. They've done such an awesome job of being effective in their play style. I think something to note that last week, like we said, they've dropped one series. It was against, excuse me, it was against the Loggers last week. They were playing a sub last week. That's not to discredit the Loggers. They had an awesome showing. They did an awesome job picking apart that Alabama team, this Alabama team, but it was with a sub. That's not your normal Alabama team. And when they're on fire, they're going to be, I think, the team to beat.
It's a long season, but Alabama are doing their absolute best to make sure that they are feared for the remainder of this long season. The 5-goal scoreline in game 3, looking for the sweep. This one, quite honestly, was probably solidified a long time ago. Fish looking to get one back. It won't happen. Alabama put their mark on this match with a 5-0 victory in game 3. What a performance. Everyone else in this table needs to look at this game and study what went well for Alabama Crimson and start working right now on ways to shut them down, because that was stellar.
The one thing I didn't see a ton of out of Alabama, I'm just going to give some intel out there for anyone watching who's coming up maybe week 6 and wants to know, how do you shut down Alabama? The one thing we didn't see a whole lot about Alabama is passing plays. They had some great containing the offensive end. They did a really good job rotating through, getting pressure upfield. And I mean, we could see it just real quick, because this is the last time you're going to see this tonight. You could see the pressure upfield. You could just see what's happening here. Alabama just dominating through there, but they're not hitting a whole lot of passing plays. If you can find a way to shut down some of the solo plays, get the ball cleared more effectively, and not allow them to get that fast offensive rotation, then they may struggle a little bit to find some advantage on top of your team.
Alabama Crimson just slid into second position underneath UAH in the West Champions leaderboard with this 4-1 record. Pending a UAH game, that very much could have been a first place worthy performance. I fully expect it to be. And I guess we'll just have to wait for other results throughout the league to shake out. FSU Blue hurting a little bit. They quite simply now drop into the bottom two positions. They're 7th place, just above Bethel University, who are 0-4. Fresno State Blue are 1-4. I mean, the goal difference between those teams looking a little bit better, -7 to FSU Blue versus -12 to Bethel. But I don't know. I don't want this to be the start of a slide, and FSU is good enough to halt a slide. It's just that, I don't know, they need to start working hard, and they need to start soon.
Yeah, we need to see them find better ways to attack the net effectively. The biggest thing for them, they did a good job defensively. They put up saves. They, for the most part, kept Alabama away from their net. Obviously, game 3 kind of broke down a little bit, but games 1 and 2, I mean, decided by 1 goal and 2 goals. Game 2, they spent so much time in the offensive end. They're a defensive team. That's it. They are a defensive team, and the best defense is a good offense, and you could see that here with Alabama walking away just completely unscathed. I think FSU didn't put home a single goal that entire series.
They put home 1 goal that entire series. I think it was in game 2. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think
it was the game 2. They had kind of a last second goal there, but 1 goal in 3 games isn't a good look, especially when in game number 2 you spent so much time demanding offensive pressure and just commanding the field. The inability to find a way to finish that off. I think we could look for some more physical play, get some bumps, get some demos on some smart rotations, get some passes high over the mid. That would be a really nice way to get some weird angles here on the net and effectively attack that back wall. You heard me say it a million times, Leachy. You don't have to attack the net directly. Attack the wall around it. Force a response out of the defense. And when they start to come out, just like we saw Alabama do for, I think, the first goal of game number 3, you could see they spent a lot of time in the offensive end. And when they went to go shoot that first goal, nobody was home, because that's exactly what happens when you effectively attack the back wall.
You need to fool them into thinking you're really good, but actually you're only just bad enough to miss by a couple pixels, and then the teammate just comes in and sweeps it in. That's the inside scoop.
We don't talk about bad. You know how it is. There's no such thing as a mistake in Rocket League. This goes for everyone out there. If you're learning to play Rocket League, you don't make mistakes. It's either 100% calculated if it works, or it's server lag if it doesn't.
No mistakes, just fakes. That's my life motto when it comes to Rocket League. Was informed by our production team. UAH actually has a bye, so it's going to be much later in the season because they have a game in hand. It's going to be much later in the season until we figure out where Alabama is going to wind up shaking out in terms of their position on the leaderboard. But I mean, to be honest, I think, Alabama, Huntsville, and Alabama 1 are playing. I'm week 7. Okay, so it's coming up soon. Regardless of that, I'm gonna stick by what I said. Alabama Crimson. If for some reason, if you don't believe this off of the back of this performance, then just put it to all the their series up till this point. They deserve to be at the top, and like I said, teams that are going up against Alabama Crimson in the future, they need to watch this series back and figure out what they were able to do and figure out a way to stop it. Yes, it was against an FSU team that is, closer towards the bottom part of the table, but in a way that is still a useful data point to have, because you find out what makes, how Alabama Crimson operates when they're comfortable. And so the key thing there is like, this is them when they're comfortable. Get them uncomfortable, whatever that may be. Stop, as you pointed out earlier, we didn't see as many passes coming out from them. Okay, well then maybe does that mean they're going more solo efforts? Get in their faces a little bit. Maybe use passes against them. Like someone way smarter can figure out what all this means, because I just yell into a microphone.
We just sit here and talk. Well, I mean, even like just
exactly.
Look, you can see on the screen now we've got demos. Look at this. Alabama got 3 demos on FSU. FSU picked up a solitary demo right down here. That's it. They didn't ever have to face any kind of real physical play. So when you're not physically attacking your opponent, you allow them to just kind of do what they want and kind of walk away with the game. Even if you're getting good 50s on them, which I've said this before, and I will stand by it. The way to win championships with individual mechanics is 50s. That is the mechanic if you want to be a championship team. If you can 50, then you can dominate. But if you're not also physically disrupting your opponents, you're giving them a lot of comfort, a lot of ability to pick where they want to be on the field, how they want to attack your team, how they want to pick apart your defense, and eventually find goals. And at the same time, you're giving them lots of opportunities to make good defensive stands. If you're not getting physical, you're doing it wrong. That's all I'm going to say. If you're not getting physical, you are doing it wrong. Embrace the mechanics of the game. Embrace the meta. Get bumps. Get demos. Don't chase them. Don't ever think I'm sitting here saying chasing demos and bumps, but get them. Get a smart rotation through the front of the net. Clear out those defenders. Allow your teammate to come up and follow through. In the transition play, you see that player dribbling the ball back down towards your net, and you're coming up behind him. Go for it. Take away their ability to effectively attack your net.
Embrace the demo. Embrace the demos. Embrace the meta. It sounds like you're selling some kind of like Herbalife product or like Vima. Remember that garbage a few years back? That's all from me, Lars. Thank you very much for joining me. I had an absolute blast. I was super pumped about or I was super pumped to cast alongside Mr. Stats. And I'm going to do my darndest to have that be what everybody calls you going forward, because I mean, you worked hard enough, if for nothing else, just for a new nickname. So let's push on that. How about?
Well, I appreciate you that. I appreciate that. You're not the only one trying to come up with nicknames. I know Novanta earlier. I gave him the forewarning, just like with you. I don't want to ambush anybody when we're casting with this kind of stuff. And he said, I'm going to call it the Eye of Newt. It's the Eye of Newt. It's looking over the field. Oh. So I guess it's got a name now. And I guess there's a nickname for me, Lars, Mr. Stats Newt. But that is it for me tonight. I don't know if Leachy, are you coming back for one more series?
That is it for me as well, unfortunately.
It's not it for NECC. We have yet still more Rocket League action coming up for you right after a short break. We will be right back.
Throw to break.
This is the beginning of something special, something different. The games may change, but competition and skill do not. Students coming together to represent Fresno State with support and leadership. Fresno State students will discover and develop their potential. From all walks of life, esports players are passionate, driven, dedicated, and bold. They'll train, learn, and grow together, striving to be the best gamers and future leaders in our community and world.
Rise up. Esports has come to Fresno State, and it starts now.
What sound experience would you like today?
I'll have the fantasy pack.
Good choice. And could you make it a Cloud 2 wireless? On his way, sir.
Sounds amazing.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have a little bit of downtime between series here, so we figured we'd do something a little bit different for you. I am back, as you can see, and Leachy is back, as you can see. And we figured for a little bit of a freak sideshow, I guess, we would do a 1v1 between Leachy and myself here on stream, and we'll just talk through kind of what's happening and why Leachy is beating me so badly at once here.
I'm joining right now. This is gonna be, I have never ever done something like this. I have no idea how this is gonna happen. I wish we had somebody else to like analyze at the same time while this stuff was going on. I feel like that'd be a blast. I'm defending right now.
I'm excited trying to talk about why, like, Leachy, tell people why what I just did is bad.
Generally because, and this is, I swear, a lot of the things I'm about to say are going to sound like a dig at you, but I promise they're not.
No, I'm just not as good at
Lordy.
once.
It's not once, but like in the air. It's like, it's never a good idea to hop into the air like that when you don't have the ability. I know you, and so I know that I was safe to stay on the ground because I know that your
I wasn't going to do anything with it.
It's a little bit weaker. That's all.
Also in ones, if you're not like guaranteed effective shooting or anything with an aerial, imagine just watching that ball pass because you are on ball cam and not paying attention. You're all you're gonna end up doing, because all your opponent has to do is wait for it to come down to challenge it, is you're gonna burn a ton of boost to give up possession of the ball and momentum. Never a good thing.
Oh my god, he even changed the stream title for us. What is happening? Why? I hope somebody's getting a kick out of this. This is ridiculous.
Well, if nothing else, you can laugh at my one's abilities here. Oh my goodness. Imagine that doesn't get saved.
So, okay. So legitimate thing here. Legitimate thing. And I'm sure anybody who's watched me for a while has heard like me harping on the importance of being able to put the ball on target from wherever you are.
Yes.
But in ones, that is even more important because every single opportunity could develop into a goal scoring opportunity if you just like do what is needed to be done in terms of putting the ball on target. Now, what I just did there in any other situation is ill-advised, but I have an extremely bold, chasey playstyle when it comes to ones, and I will turn on almost anything.
Well, you also knew that I missed the boost and I was poorly positioned and just all around generally bad. But to your point about being able to put a shot on from anywhere, literally just earlier, you missed your own aerial and gave me the ball, and I put it wide of the net, which, you know.
Okay.
So Leachy, tell me, when you have the ball under control and I'm Shadow, is there anything that doesn't end with you scoring the ball?
I mean, that is just more about, I don't know. In those situations in ones, if it's clear that your opponent has like got the ball under full control, at that point, you're kind of just hoping that they mess up. Because in ones, like, you find yourself in so many more situations where it's just like, there's pretty much nothing you can do about it. Like, if you had a teammate, you could afford to challenge and make him flip early and then just have the teammate clean up the relatively simple shot.
Mm-hmm.
But in ones, you just have write-offs. And, like, that's why so many pro, like, you could be the best ones player in the world, but you'll still concede, like, 6 goals. But as long as you score 8 to 9, you're fine, you know?
Yeah.
I'm bad.
Just wish I had a little bit more boost there because I was trying to set the shot on net and then bump you on the way down, which is a real one strategy for people that are actually like good at this. But as you can see, that ain't me.
Hey Bass, I see you in chat. You skinny boy. Get in this voice channel and help us direct some content here. I need you to be directing some I guess some questions to the peanut gallery. You were talking, Lars, as well about the importance of being able to win 50s as Bass decides to grace us with his presence. I will say I'm not cocky about many things, but I know, and I'm very bad at this game. But one of the things I am actually relatively adept at is 50s, and I consider myself a relatively decent person in a 50-50. And I feel like that's why I'm able to get some victories in ones without having to rely on mechanics too much, because I am not mechanical. But the 50s are half decent.
Yeah, 50s are the way. Bass, welcome in.
Thank you. I am not exactly sure what I'm joining into here. I've been told that there
Me
is a
neither.
1v1 going on, and I am interested in watching it. I'm a big fan of ones, so getting to roast some of the other people I work with while they play is kind of my dream come true.
Well, what happened was the last series ended fairly quickly, and we had a minute, and we figured we'd take a second to just talk about ones and why Leachy beats me so badly at ones and what effective one strategy is to prevent things like that from happening.
Interesting. Well, I hope I can provide some insight here, but beyond anything, I'd love to just watch you two play some high-level ones, as I will call it so far here. Lars, though, this actually might be an opportunity for you. Cross court, can you?
No, I can't. I can't execute. That's been established.
What are we doing? What are we doing here? Why is this happening? Who allowed this to happen?
I think the biggest thing to take away from is I'm like Diamond 2-ish in ones, tenuous Diamond 1. Let's call it Diamond 1, and I've scored twice on Leachy, and that's really the only important thing here
100%.
Is that I bested Leachy twice. So.
On a US West server, might I add. We both have 70 ping. I just want to point that out there.
Hey, you guys are still both doing phenomenally. So, all right, so let's go directly to ranks. Lars, you said you're about Diamond 1 in ones. Leachy, what is your ones rank?
I just lost Champ 3, so I'm like a mid to high Champ 2.
Interesting. Okay, so theoretically, you should be clapping him, which you are so far doing well at. You've got about a minute left, and let's see if you can... Oh, I was going to say Brazil, but I don't know if you're going to really be able to do that quite yet.
It's going to be pretty tough to pull back a second goal here. So.
Yeah, exactly. Not really, not so doable yet.
Oh, Leachy, that was rude.
Sorry.
Well, I spent a lot of time in that last series talking about getting physical on your opponent to try to get an advantage, and it works in ones. It's a very real thing.
Yeah, one of the biggest tricks in ones is by far the air dribble bump. If you can execute that, you're basically going to score, I'd say, 50% of your goals. Shout out to Jesse, the OTP one-trick pony. He has absolutely copywritten that move. So good at the air dribble
I actually attempted one of those, actually for the first time in my life. Earlier in this game, I got the ball up over the mid, and I saw Leachy, and I tried to get back down on it, but unfortunately, I just didn't have enough boost to get there. So it doesn't execute, but I hope our little bit of filler here has helped keep keep your attention here.
Do we have to go to the next game? Can we like
we'll just do ones for the rest of the night?
I mean, hey, NECC Rocket League Ones Edition. We could do a Ones League in the future. Chat, is this something you would be interested in? Is the dog interested in a Ones League, Lars? Would he be interested?
Oh, I think all he's interested in is getting loose and running away. Huskies are escapists, and they're known runners. But this is all right. We'll go ahead. We're going to throw to another quick break here while we set up for the last series of the night. Bass here, I'm going to be one of your commentators. Leachy and I are done for the night. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for tolerating our shenanigans and our antics here in the intermission. Stick around. We'll be right back.
What sound experience would you like today?
I'll have the fantasy pack.
Good choice.
And could you make it a Cloud 2 wireless?
On his way, sir.
Sounds amazing.